G'day my friends, if you're new here, my name's Sam. Today we have a short practice aimed at opening up the front chain of the body. I like to think of this practice as energizing, so there won't be a shavasana attached at the end of it, or there won't be one from me. You're most welcome to take one, but I like to think of this practice as something that is going to be warming you up for perhaps further physical activity, whether it be going to the gym, going for a run, whatever it may be. Hopefully with this front body opening and leg activation, you'll be ready to tackle whatever comes after. Of course, we're going to be focusing on our breath and we're going to be moving with intention throughout the practice. No blocks required. If you've got them, fantastic. If you've got some really old Disney VCR tapes, maybe you could use those, and that won't make any sense unless you do the practice. So stick around, do the practice, and then maybe you'll laugh later on. Let's get into it. We're going to get started in Vajrasana today. So sit yourself back on the heels. I like to use my thumbs to spin my calf muscles away from one another. That just allows the thigh bones to run a little more parallel, stops the knees from drawing in towards each other. Let the shoulders be soft, let the hands rest down on the thighs, let the eyes soften shut. My teacher always says that all good backbends or heart openers start from the legs. So we're coming down here, we're finding this strong flexion at the knee joint, plantar flexion of the ankle, allowing gravity to do its work and the hips to rest down against the heels. If you want to feel the legs wake up a little more, you could press the shins and top of feet down to feel the hips lift slightly. And you might even feel the thigh muscles engage underneath your hands there. Take one more breath. We'll make our way onto hands and knees from here, just tucking the toes under. We don't want to neglect our feet, so as you tuck the toes under and send the hips back to heels, just move the heels in and out, just so you can really feel into the bottoms of the feet and the toes. From this space, untuck the toes, you'll find Balasana, child's pose. We're going to walk both hands over towards the left-hand side of the room. Left hand grounds first, right hand on top, interlace the fingers, then push the left hand into the floor as you pull the right hand back towards you. A little more active length through the right hand side there. And releasing. Coming over to the other side, hands walk out to left fingers interlaced on top, right palm pushes into the floor, left hand pulls back against. I find this gives you just a little more active traction, allows the lats and the obliques to stretch out a little more. And we'll come back to all fours, just taking the hands a little further out in front of the shoulders and keeping the toes tucked under here. From this space, we're going to start to lean forward. As we do, the hips are going to lower down towards the floor, but we'll keep the knees on the ground to start with. Pull the shoulder blades back, really lift the chest. Take an inhale. As you exhale, send the hips back to heels. Keep the toes tucked under if you can. Really press through the hands to feel that stretch at the bottom of the feet. A couple more times like that. Inhale, we come forwards. Hips drop, chest lifts. Exhale, we take it back. Toes tuck, hands press firm. One more time the same. Inhale. Exhale, we take it back. And we're going to do 3 more, but keep the knees hovering this time. So as the hips drop and the chest lifts, the knees just stay lifting off the mat slightly. As you exhale, send the hips back to heels. Keep the knees lifting. Inhale, we roll forwards. Really firm the glutes as you come forwards. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Exhale, hips back to heels. Knees stay lifting, hands are pressing. One more time. Inhale, come forwards. Exhale, we take it back. And from here, straighten the legs. Find your downward facing dog, little movement through the back of the legs when you get there. Feel the length in the calves. Feel the Achilles tendons. Get a little bit of a lengthening, a little bit of a stretch. A little bit of movement from hips side to side. We come back to center. Let the right leg rise up and back as you take an inhale. And then roll the hip open. Start to bend into the right knee. Because we are working to open up the front body quite a lot here, see if you can come onto the right fingertips, really look under the right armpit. So imagine your head and your chest are moving to the right-hand side of the room as you start to press your right heel to the left-hand side of the room. What this is going to do is really lengthen through the right side obliques into the outside of the right hip there. Take a breath. Then stay on the right fingertips, lift high on the left toes, look forwards, step the right foot just inside the right hand and drop the back knee down. Keeping the fingertips lifted, just gives you a little more space to step the foot. We'll come on up to a lunge, keep the back toes tucked under. We're going to take the hands to support the low back. So with the toes tucking under on that back foot, we're going to lean forwards, but really press into the ball of the foot, flex into the left glutes and feel the chest lift. So essentially we're trying to feel the glutes moving down as the chest lifts up. We're drawing those shoulder blades towards each other as best we can. Feeling that chest start to lift and seeing if we can sink deeper into the hips. Take a breath in. Nice work. We start to send the hips backwards, straighten over the right leg and allow the torso to drop down. Still keeping the back toes tucked under if we can. Have a look at the right foot, see if you can flex the toes towards you, then maybe walk the fingers or the hands, the arms, all of those things together, out in front of you a little further forwards. Sometimes words are hard. Take a breath. Exhale, we fold. As we start to lift the chest, we're going to rebend the right knee, and then just lift the back knee off the mat and step your left leg up to meet your right. Finding a halfway lift there. Take a breath in. Letting the exhale fold you forward. You might feel the right leg a lot longer. That's okay, we'll get towards the left. Bend the knees generously. Let's roll up through standing. Nice and easy. And circle the arms out wide, reach them tall. Take a breath. Just going to let the exhale fold us straight back down the center. Halfway lift on the inhale, spine is nice and long. And the right foot's going to stay where it is. We'll pick up the left leg, step back towards a lunge, nice and long. This time the back knee is going to stay lifting. As we rise up, we'll find a high lunge. Arms rise overhead, lots of depth in the right thigh. Try to lift the back knee a little higher off the mat. And again, because we are focusing on opening the front line of the body, let's interlace the fingers here, create a little pistol-like shape. See if you can take the arms behind the head and then re-straighten them. So right thigh sits deeper as that back knee tries to continue to lift. We work to find more active length. Take an inhale. Be there for the breath out. And circle hands down towards the mat. I'm going to step the right leg back to meet the left. Come through a plank position and then lean forwards, bend the elbows. As we lower to the floor, we'll find cobra pose, feet press down, roll the shoulder blades back, lift the chest up. Inhale. Exhale, lower down, then use the knees here, press up. Come back towards child's pose for just a moment. Use the hands here, push to traction your hips backwards, drop the head. And then we'll come back, find downward facing dog. Hips rise up and back. When we get there, left leg's going to rise. Take an in-breath. And we'll roll the hip open, start to bend into the knee. Remember, a little more deliberate front body opening, so rise under the left fingertips. Feel the chest and head. Move to the left-hand side of the room, then press the heel towards the right-hand side of the room. So really pushing that heel away from the direction the head and chest are moving. It's going to give you more length through the front of the left hip into the left side obliques. Take a breath. And we'll stay on the left fingertips, rise high on the right toes. Look forward, step the left foot between the hands. Back knee drops on to the floor. And coming up, back toes stay tucked under. Again, we'll support the low back with the hands. Fingers point up as best you can. We lean forwards. Feel the right glutes firm. As you push the glutes down, the chest lifts up. And just breathing into that space. Feeling the hips descend. Feeling the chest lift. Last in breath. And we'll send the hips back, straightening out the left leg, folding over the left thigh. Remember, fingers, hands, and arms will walk out in front of you as we give ourselves the opportunity to fold. Oh, golly, I thought that was funny. You'd be surprised how often being in an empty room, looking and talking to two cameras, I end up just having conversations with myself. A lot of the times they'll get cut out of the videos, but maybe I should just leave them in there occasionally. It is a pretty funny concept, isn't it? Just being in an empty room, two cameras, just talking, hoping that somebody around the world will find this on YouTube, get some benefit out of the video, stretch along the way, and maybe have a laugh at my idiocy along the way. Take a breath. And let me know in the comments if you're still listening. We'll lift the chest, rebend the left knee. As the back knee rises, we'll step the right foot up to meet the left. Now this time both legs have had a chance to lengthen, so we're going to hang out in the fold a little bit longer. Lift up halfway, breathe in. If there's space, catch hold of the big toes and pull down as you fold. Shoulder blades wrap down and away from the ears as the elbows bend, head drops heavier. For a little more relief at the back of the neck, interlace the fingers, take them to the back of the head. And you allow the chin to draw in a little more. Then release. Roll up through standing, nice and easy. Circle the arms out wide, reach them tall. Take a breath. The exhale, take us straight back down. Lifting halfway, breathe in. Left foot stays, we pick up the right leg, step it back long. We come to a lunge, but keep the back knee rising. We lift. Find your high lunge. Deep in the left leg, high in that right knee. We catch the pistol-like grip and the elbows to take the biceps behind the ears. We feel the chest continuing to move forward slightly as the arms move back. This is going to give us more of that front body opening. Try to descend a little more into the left leg. We see what it's like to lift the back knee higher. And then we just hang out here. We got 2 breaths. Last one, breathe in. And we release. Hands find the mat. Pick up the left leg. Come back through the plank. This time we lower all the way down towards the floor. Come through Cobra Pose first, just like we did before. Inhale. This time, we're going to push back onto hands and knees. Keep the toes tucked under, and then descend the hips back towards the heels. So we find this kneeling position with the toes tucked under. Let the breath begin to slow down just a little. Nice sweat. So in this next piece of the puzzle, I'm going to demonstrate with blocks. If you don't have blocks, They're really unnecessary. They just give you a little something to focus on. If you had some books or old VCRs, if you got those lying around, they're probably worth a bit of money if you got some old Disney ones, so maybe don't use those. But if you got something, you hold it in your palms. So we try not to grip it with the fingers and the thumbs. It's just resting gently. With the toes tucked, we've lifted the hips. We're flexing the glutes like we did in our lunges. We're pressing the hips forward. And that we're going to try and stay the same. So if you look from shoulders down to knees, we're going to try and keep that in one long line, and in a moment, on an exhale, we're going to press into the toes and just lean back a little. It's really going to strengthen the quads, the knees, and the front of the hips. So we'll do it 5 times, but we'll do it slowly. First one's not going to be our deepest attempt. So reach your VCRs, your expensive Disney vintage DCRs out in front of you, or VCRs. I'm talking rubbish again, I tell you. Take a breath in. Exhale, we just lean back. Remember, this is the first one, so you just feel what it's like. And then you rise back up without collapsing at the hip. Nice one. Take a breath. Exhale, we just lean back. See what's there. Then we rise back up. Glutes super firm. We have 3 more. Breathe in. Exhale. If you feel yourself get a little lower, take the blocks a little lower as well. But keep the glutes firm and the hips pressing forwards as you rise. 2 more. Exhale, take it back. Last one, breathe in. See what's available for you. Hold it. And then rise. Whew, nice work. Pop your very expensive vintage Disney DVDs. Keep the toes tucked under. Lift the knees off the mat. And if the heels ground down, let them. Get nice and small. Head drops down heavy, maybe you catch hold of opposite hand or forearm. That way the arms are just holding the legs together a little more. We set our bottom onto the floor. If you're at the back of the mat, shuffle forwards, give yourself a little more room, and then we'll lower down on to the back. Catch the ankles, set the feet down nice and close underneath the bottom, and we'll set the head down. So feet are nice and close towards the bottom, directly underneath the knees. So we're going to drive down through the elbows, lift the hips off the mat. Rolling the shoulder blades back. As you lift the hips, see if you can interlace the hand. Imagine you are sliding your feet to the front of your mat to allow your chest to move back towards your chin. I don't know about you, but my quads are on fire. Well, that's you as well. Just embrace it. Take one more breath. Then we'll lower down slowly. Extend the left leg out long in front of you. Take the right knee across to the left-hand side of the room. Spread the arms out wide. Using full and slow exhales here. Just trying to allow your belly to relax, to really embrace the twist. Coming back through center. Right leg extends out long in front. We'll take the left knee across to the right hand side. Spreading up wide. As you bring yourself back through center, take a little hug of the knees, then lift your head up off the mat. We'll roll up towards a seat. Just extend the legs out long in front of you. You want the sitting bones to be nice and even on the mat. Toes flexing. You bend the knees if the hamstrings need it. Let the arms rise up. Take an in-breath. As you exhale, we'll fold over the length of the thigh. Imagine you're reaching way out past your feet, and even if you can't, just imagine. That way, instead of just hunching and rounding, you're trying to go forwards like the shoulder blades were descending and the chest was leading the way. You let the hands rest wherever they feel comfortable. Let your head drop down. And a little added length in either side of the low back. Keep the legs as they are. Walk both hands over to the left hand side. See if your right elbow can rest gently on the outside of the left thigh. Then you push the right elbow down, a little twist back over the left shoulder. Shifting back through center. Both hands walk over to the right. Maybe left elbow rests just outside the right thigh. You push into the thigh, gentle twist over the right shoulder. As you come back through center, one last breath in your deepest fold. Slowly lift yourself up towards a seat. If you had the time now, allow yourself just to lower down onto your back. Prepare yourself for Shavasana. If that's all the time you have today and you don't feel like Shavasana, fantastic. This short practice is aimed at opening the front chain of the body, but also giving you energy. So you may not feel like a rest. Maybe you take this practice before you continue with further activity, whether it be running or exercise at the gym, something a little more high intensity. Whatever it is, you keep your breath steady wherever you're going. Try to keep your mind focused on whatever the task is at hand. So we try and find a balance. There's a balance between breath, there's a balance in the mind, and we use that to balance our body as we make our way through the movement practice. So that when it comes back to being still, we're a little more well-equipped and a little more at ease. I want to thank you so much for practicing today. Peace.